My name's Andrew Denton. I've been bartending in Springfield for almost 10 years now. I work in one of those careers where it's constantly evolving and changing. This is kind of just a little bit of what I am fortunate enough to get to do on a daily basis.
Hello and welcome. My name is Andrew Denton. I'm the bar manager at Hair of the Dog Barbershop. We are the bar located in the back of the barbershop here on 4th Monroe in Springfield, Illinois. And we are starting a video series of cocktail tutorials focusing on the classics and how those drinks influence modern day cocktails. Today we will be making an old fashioned and Manhattan, kind of kissing cousins in the cocktail originality. So we're going to start first with the old fashioned. You're going to take a shaker tin, take a piece of orange, a sugar cube, and then what I think really helps sets this drink off are these little lovely things called Luxardo cherries. They're an Italian cherry, semi-sweet. What they do is they kind of pack them in sugar, and then the natural cherry juices make their own little syrup that they store them in. I've seen them in town. You can pick them up at Benny's. I've actually seen them at Hy-Vee as well. Really helps set off some of these drinks. These are more of like the authentic maraschino cherries, not so much the generic red ones that you see today in like a kiddie cocktail. These are the real deal. So we got all that in our tin. We're gonna take our bitters of choice. I prefer, for this drink, Angostura bitters. This is my own little bottle that I just dumped some in, but Angostura is a product of Haiti. It's been around in cocktails in America for over 100 years. Really great stuff. Another one of those things that you can pick up at most local liquor stores. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your bitter and you're going to kind of aim for that cherry cube, and you're really going to want to macerate that with bitter. A good 5 or 6 shakes. So now we got everything in there. We're going to take our trusty muddler. It's called a Billy Club muddler. That's the little club look. And what you're going to do, and don't be afraid, you're just going to want to beat everything up. Now, the reason why I like sugar cubes instead of simple syrup is because the fiber, or more or less the graininess of that sugar cube, helps tear everything up. So you're really going to get a good muddle in there. So after you got all that done, I'm just going to get rid of your muddler. Now we're ready to build the rest, which is really simple. It's just bourbon of choice and ice. So I'm going to use 4 Roses bourbon, Kentucky bourbon. Great flavor, simple, not that expensive, but really lovely. I think it goes great with this cocktail. You still get the bourbon taste, but it's a great platform for all the flavor that we just developed in there. So we're gonna do 2 ounces of 4 Roses bourbon right into the tin. Then we're just gonna add ice. And the most important part, shake. Get a good seal on there. 2 hands, real firm. Give her a hearty shake. You know it's good. The metal starts to seize up because you really chilled it down rapidly. And grab an old-fashioned glass or a rocks glass. Where I kind of differ with a lot of people is I prefer my old-fashioned to be clean. So all of that pulp and everything that we muddled in there is still in the shaker. Some places dump it straight in, add straws and done. I like a clean drink. So you take a fine mesh strainer, like this one here, put a good hold on it, then we're just gonna pour that loveliness inside. Now you can see that color's changed from the initial bourbon, and that's that red coming out of the cherry and the bitter, showing that we really muddled that all together. Once it's all strained off, now what you do is you take a nice fresh orange. You can garnish it with a wedge if you want, no problem at all. I like to do just the peel. Got my little peeler here. And something you can do at home too, if you just drag a lighter back and forth, what that'll do is that'll open up the oils of the peel itself. So you'll really get that fragrance. You're just gonna wanna twist it in between your fingers, give it a little squeeze. It'll bring out that oil. You just rim it along the lip of the glass. Plop that guy in there. Just add a couple straws. Well guys, we're moving on to the next one now, and this is the other side of the coin when it comes to traditional bourbon cocktails. This is the Manhattan. The Manhattan is typically done with rye whiskey. In the past it was Canadian rye, but we're going to use a Kentucky rye instead. The Manhattan also can be made either up or on the rocks, depending on your preference. I'm going to do the on the rocks version for you right now. So similar start, I'm going to grab our shaker tin, and then you go bitters first. I'm using Peashod. It's a product of New Orleans. Really nice stuff here. Bitters are basically the spice rack of cocktails. It's a way of adding flavor without adding a whole lot more alcohol. Peashod, like I said, out of New Orleans, really great stuff. Has a big orange spice to it. Clove, a little bit of that in there as well. So really great. Balances that pepperiness of rye really well. We're going to be using Sazerac rye. What we're going to do here is the ratio is going to be a little different because we're actually using two different liquors here. We're using rye whiskey and sweet vermouth. So I prefer mine to be a little more peppery and spicy. So I'm just going to use 1.5 ounces of rye. Now, if you wanted to mellow that out, you could use more sweet vermouth, and you could do an equal, like 1-to-1. But what I'm going to do is 1.5 ounces of rye and just 1/2 ounce of vermouth. We've got a really lovely vermouth here called Dahlin Vermouth. Sweet vermouth, dry vermouth, they're products of wine, fortifying wine with different herbs and spices. Typically enjoyed usually before or after a meal. So we're just going to use 1/2 ounce. So I'm going to flip my jigger over and put 1/2 ounce in. And pretty much what we did before. We're going to ice down our shaker. We're going to give it a good shake, make a good seal. 2 hands, and away you go. All done. And crack the seal. Make sure we don't lose any of that good stuff. And grab our rocks glass. Ice this one up. Grab our strainer, throw her on there. Now we don't have any fruit or anything like that as we did the last time. We don't have to hold the strain down quite as tight. You don't want to waste any of that good stuff you got in there. Give it a good shake. Typically, Manhattan was garnished with a cherry. So going back to our old friend here, we're going to grab one of these lovely little Luxardos. Throw that guy on top. Put some of that syrupy juice, get into the drink as well, and straws.